Tonight, Hollywood is shaking, and no, it's not a movie premiere or another celebrity breakup. It's something way bigger. A bomb just dropped in the Blake Lively vs. Justin Baldoni case, and it could wipe out Blake's entire lawsuit in one move. And trust me, the moment this filing hit the docket, it was obvious. Justin Baldoni's legal team didn't just submit a defense. They launched a demolition. This isn't Blake Lively's moment. This is Blake Lively's reckoning. Late last night, Justin Baldoni's lawyers dropped a 49-page motion for summary judgment. For anyone new to legal drama, let me translate. They basically told the judge, even if we pretend every single thing Blake claimed is true, she still has no case. That's how confident they are. And honestly, after reading it, I get it. This motion is brutal, precise, surgical, and packed with receipts Blake definitely did not want the world to see. The filing opens like a story, smooth, sharp, and aimed straight at the judge. It reminds him of what Blake keeps trying to hide. This was a sexual, adult, provocative film, and every incident she complained about happened while she was demanding script changes, location changes, editing control, and power over the entire production. They paint her as the boss, the one calling the shots, the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. And Justin? He wasn't some villain in the shadows, he was the one trying to hold the film together while Blake and Ryan played puppet master. Stick with me. Because what comes next is even worse for Blake. Here's where things get messy, and honestly, kind of shocking. Justin's legal team doesn't just defend him. They flip the entire power dynamic upside down. And suddenly, Blake doesn't look like a victim at all. She looks like the boss from hell. Let me break it down. In the motion, Justin's lawyers show detailed emails, texts, and production notes proving Blake wasn't some scared actress tiptoeing around a dangerous set. No, she was running the whole show. She controlled the script. She controlled the schedule. She demanded edits, demanded rewrites, demanded reshoots, and even demanded final say over the entire film. And here's the wildest part, she never even signed the main contract. That's right, Blake Lively, Hollywood superstar, didn't sign the key actor loan-out agreement that makes someone an actual employee. So she's out here shouting workplace harassment while the legal documents basically say, "Girl, you didn't even work here." It gets better. The motion lists moment after moment showing Blake using her power to push Justin out of his own movie, cutting his credits, excluding him from his own premiere, putting him in the basement, literally. She even complained to his agents behind his back, stirring up bad press and tension that she then blamed on him. This part of the motion reads like a plot twist. Because once the judge sees this power imbalance flipped, Blake's entire harassment narrative starts to crumble fast. But trust me, the retaliation section? That's where Blake's case goes from weak to doomed. See, Blake's biggest claim isn't just harassment, it's retaliation. She says Justin and Wayfarer went after her after she complained. Sounds dramatic, right? Sounds like a headline? Except Justin's lawyers basically tell the judge she can't claim retaliation when she lit the fuse herself. And the evidence? It's brutal. The motion lays out a timeline showing Blake, with Ryan right behind her, sabotaging the film's rollout long before she ever claimed wrongdoing. We're talking Blake freezing Justin out of the editing room, Blake threatening not to promote the movie unless she got full control, Blake cutting Justin from credits, Blake excluding him from press, Blake putting him in the basement at his own premiere. Yes, that's real. Blake complaining to agents to tank his reputation, Blake stirring negative press through her PR team, Blake triggering the New York Times hit piece, Blake filing a confidential complaint, a complaint that mysteriously leaked. And every single one of those moves happened before her so-called protected complaint. Translation? Justin didn't retaliate. Blake went nuclear first, then cried retaliation when the blast blew back on her. Her own actions break the legal chain she needs to win. You can't blame someone for consequences you created, and that's exactly what this motion shows. But the next part? Even harsher. Blake's smear campaign allegations collapse the second you look at the actual evidence. Okay, this is the moment the whole case tilts. Blake Lively has been shouting for months that Justin Baldoni and his team ran a secret smear campaign against her. Bots, fake accounts, planted stories, shady PR moves. It sounded dramatic, emotional, cinematic. But when Justin's lawyers finally pulled the receipts, there was nothing, literally nothing. Not one email, not one message, not one piece of evidence showing Justin ever attacked her. And here's the kicker. Justin's texts actually show the opposite. In the motion, they include messages between Justin, Melissa, Nathan, and other team members. And in those chats, Justin is repeatedly telling everyone, do not attack her. Don't do anything shady. We are not doing that. His own PR team confirms it again and again. No bots, no smears, no planted stories, nothing illegal, nothing fake. Everything was organic backlash, meaning fans reacted badly because Blake created the drama, not because Justin manipulated anything. And then the motion hits her with a legal hammer. If Blake wants this claim to survive, she must show admissible evidence of actual smearing. Emotions don't count. Rumors don't count. Her gut feeling doesn't count. Her theory about deleted signal chats? Also worthless, pure hearsay. This is the moment the judge will look at the file and think, where is Blake's proof? And if she can't give him any, that claim is gone, dead on arrival. But the next part is where her entire story really starts to collapse, the harassment itself. And now we reach the part Blake Lively truly didn't want anyone looking too closely at. Because her harassment claim, the centerpiece of her public crusade, doesn't just weaken under scrutiny, it backfires. Justin's legal team does something brilliant here. They take every single thing Blake complained about, lay it out clearly, and then zoom out to show the context. And that context destroys her entire narrative. Remember, this wasn't a Disney movie. This was a dark, sensual, adult romance film based on an explicit Colleen Hoover novel. The entire movie is built around sexual themes. That's the job. That's the material. That's the set. And suddenly Blake's evidence sounds ridiculous. Someone hugged her. Someone said something sexy while planning a sexual scene. Someone referenced the book. Someone entered a trailer with her assistant present. A birth video was shown for realism in a birth scene. Justin stood too close during blocking. That's her harassment case. But here's the knockout punch: none of it was unwelcome, and none of it was targeted because she's a woman, which the law requires for harassment. The motion even includes photos and declarations showing crew members hugging Justin and Jamie, not them hugging Blake, them hugging everyone. It was literally normal set behavior. Blake never objected. Blake never said stop. Blake never claimed fear. Blake was too busy rewriting scripts, moving locations, and controlling edits to be some timid victim. And legally, minor, isolated, non-gendered, out-of-context actions are not harassment. The judge knows that, Justin's lawyers know that, and now Blake knows it too. But what comes next is truly embarrassing for Blake, because her entire contract situation is an absolute career-level disaster. Blake hoped no one would notice. While she publicly screamed workplace harassment, retaliation, and unsafe environment, Justin's lawyers quietly slid in a fact so simple, so brutal, it almost ends her case in one line. Blake Lively never signed the contract. Let me repeat that, she never signed the key actor loan-out agreement, the document that makes someone an actual employee of a production. And if she's not an employee, she can't sue for employee harassment. She can't sue for employee retaliation. She can't sue for most of the claims she's using to attack Justin legally. It's checkmate. The motion walks the judge through it step by step. Blake worked as an independent contractor, not an employee. The protections rider she keeps waving around is void because it only exists inside the contract she never signed. There was no consideration, meaning the rider has no legal force. And even if it were valid, the rider required 30 days to cure issues, which Blake never gave. She refused to sign, but still demanded all the power, all the control, all the privileges. And the cherry on top? Justin's team points out that actors at Blake's level always have airtight contracts, and this was pure sloppiness, completely on her. This entire section makes her look reckless, irresponsible, and unprofessional. And worse, it proves she wasn't the powerless employee she pretended to be. But the biggest twist? The people pushing for explicit sexual content, the very stuff Blake now claims traumatized her, weren't Justin or Wayfarer at all. It was Sony. Just when you think Blake Lively's case can't fall apart any further, Sony enters the chat and torpedoes her entire narrative. Because remember, Blake has been saying the set was sexual, unsafe, uncomfortable, and inappropriate. She paints Justin as the mastermind behind some kind of erotic chaos. But Justin's lawyers drop a bomb. Sony, not Justin, was pushing for more sexual content, and they have the emails to prove it. The motion includes actual messages from Sony executives saying things like, "We want as much tasteful hot X as you can get. If we drop to PG-13, will Colleen be okay with it? Push for more R-rated moments." These aren't sleazy men whispering in the dark. These are studio executives, including female executives, doing their jobs, shaping a film based on an explicitly sexual Colleen Hoover novel. This destroys Blake's entire harassment narrative in one stroke. The sexual tone wasn't men being creepy. It wasn't men targeting Blake. It wasn't a hostile environment. It wasn't personal, it was the job. It was literally just the creative direction of the film, set by the studio paying for it. And it gets worse for Blake. Because now the story shifts. Instead of Justin using sexual themes to harass her, the evidence shows he was following orders, while Blake fought the very creative vision she originally agreed to. The judge will see this, and trust me, it matters. A lot. But if you thought the Sony emails were bad for Blake, what comes next is catastrophic, the sham lawsuit scandal that exposes everything. And now, we hit the part Blake Lively desperately hoped would stay buried. Because this isn't just bad. This isn't just embarrassing. This is career-ending behavior if the public ever fully understands it. Justin and Wayfarer's motion flat-out accuses Blake of weaponizing the legal system, using a fake plaintiff, a fake lawsuit, and a fake emergency to spy on people, seize private data, and leak it to the press. And guess what? They have the receipts. According to the filing, here's what Blake did. She helped organize a phony lawsuit using a supposed victim who magically vanished the moment the stunt ended. She pushed for a subpoena to seize phones and messages from Abel, one of Justin's closest team members. She fed that subpoenaed data straight to the New York Times, triggering the hit piece that painted her as a brave survivor and Justin as a monster. Then she dismissed the fake lawsuit because, surprise, it was never about justice. It was about PR. Justin's lawyers call it exactly what it is: litigation abuse. A manufactured case. A manipulation of the court system for headlines. And honestly, Blake's team can't spin this. The timeline matches. The documents match. The victim disappearing matches. The NYT story dropping immediately after the subpoena matches. This isn't a rumor. These are sworn filings presented to a federal judge. The motion doesn't even need this section to win, but they included it anyway, like a final savage reminder: Blake doesn't play fair. She plays dirty. But next, we break down the moment Blake's entire victim act collapses completely. When the judge sees her own messages, her own actions, and her own PR moves working against her, this is the moment Justin's lawyers were clearly waiting for. After pages of arguments, timelines, and studio emails, they deliver the knockout blow. Blake Lively's own messages show she was never a victim. And once the judge sees that, her entire story melts. Here's what the motion exposes: while Blake was publicly crying, unsafe, uncomfortable, and harassed, she was privately doing the exact opposite. Her texts and emails show her demanding power, commanding changes, rewriting scripts, approving scenes, directing tone and content, controlling edits, ordering reshoots, blocking Justin from decisions, planning PR plays with her team. This is not the behavior of a woman terrified of Justin Baldoni. This is the behavior of a woman who believed she ran the entire production. And here's the most brutal detail. While Blake claims she was traumatized by the sexual themes, she was simultaneously promoting her brands, alcohol, hair care, fashion. During the very same period she says she was emotionally shattered. Justin's lawyers point out the obvious. If she was suffering, where's the evidence? Where's the withdrawal from social media? Where's the change in behavior? Where's the fear? Where's anything? Instead, she posted curated photos, promotional videos, sponsored collabs, while behind the scenes she was sabotaging Justin's career, plotting PR moves, and manipulating headlines. And when the backlash hit, she blamed Justin. She blamed the fans. She blamed bots. But the motion reveals the truth. The backlash was organic, self-inflicted, and caused entirely by her own choices. And that leads to the biggest question of all, the one Justin's lawyer drops like the final card on the table. If Blake Lively has such a strong case, why can't she produce a single piece of admissible evidence? This is it. The final, brutal section of Justin Baldoni's motion. The part Blake Lively cannot escape. The part no PR spin, no Ryan Reynolds tweet, no celebrity friend, and no magazine cover can fix. Because when you strip away the headlines, the emotion, and the dramatic claims, the law asks for one thing: admissible evidence. And Blake doesn't have any. Not one email showing Justin harassed her. Not one text showing he smeared her. Not one witness backing her story. Not one document proving retaliation. Not one message showing a conspiracy. Not one line of proof Justin did anything illegal. Her entire case is built on feelings, assumptions, speculation, personal attacks, PR strategy, and a smear narrative she created. But none of that counts in federal court. And Justin's lawyers hammer it home with one devastating truth. You can't survive summary judgment on vibes. Blake now has to try her case on paper. She must present real evidence, sworn declarations, authenticated messages, actual proof. And if she can't, Judge Lyman can, and likely will, throw out most of her claims. That's why this motion feels like the beginning of the end. Not for Justin, but for Blake Lively. And yes, for Ryan Reynolds too, who has been steering parts of this PR war from the shadows. Because the truth is finally catching up. The receipts are out. The narrative is cracking. And the court is watching. This is far from over, and the next few weeks could decide everything. Blake's response is coming, and trust me, if she doesn't deliver real evidence, this case could collapse live in front of us. So if you want the real updates, the documents, the leaks, the courtroom moves, hit subscribe, smash that like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single twist in this Hollywood meltdown. This is the biggest celebrity legal drama of the decade, and we're just getting started. Thanks for watching my video.